Today we're going to undress another project recipe. This time it's from Croptoberfest 2023. And we're going to make spread number 1. This spread uses 2 background papers and actually 2 pattern papers, designer paper 1, and it says white cardstock, but I'm going to use something different than white cardstock to make this. As usual, we will not make the mats because we don't have photos today. Here are the papers I've chosen. For the frame, I've chosen these frame papers from the Outdoor Play collection. For one of the pattern papers, I've chosen this brown from the Vintage Chic Tone on Tone papers. And I'm going to use this old index sheet to be my white cardstock. So the project recipe instructions say, make the horizontal cut first at 1.5 inches to cut piece E, which we will discard for this layout, and cut piece C and D at 5 3/4 by 10.5. Both C and D are at 5 3/4 by 10.5. Then we'll cut the white cardstock at 5.5 by 10.5. Five 3/4 by 10.5. Five 3/4 by 10.5. Now a 1/2 inch is going to be left over. We'll discard this. Some of these corners are a little damaged. I'm going to take this opportunity to cut them away. The 5 1/2 mark doesn't show that well on here, but it's right up against the edge. So now we are ready to put down our papers. Our 2 white cardstocks go in the middle where they meet up, and then our 2 brown will go here, and this is an absolutely lovely layout. We have our 2 pattern papers here, We have our white cardstock here. We have our frame around here. Now we do have some embellishment down here. So once I get this adhered to the page, we'll find some pretty embellishments to put on the bottom right here. Next, let's find a border for here. It could be a sticker or we could punch something. I'm going to talk a moment about my process for choosing a border to go along this part of the layout. I want to cover this seam here. That's my main goal. I could have picked a sticker, but most of the stickers that I have a theme to them, and I want this page to remain neutral so that photos from anything I select can go on this page. Looking at the design of the brown paper, I see circles, and that led me to this circle chain punch, which is one of my favorites, but it will leave a hole, and I'd have to think about covering the hole. So that's maybe not. Next is this Border Maker cartridge, which is the square link chain. It is a favorite. However, while it does go with the frame in the square motif, the brown paper has more of a round flavor to it, and I'm thinking this is not quite right to go with that, and it's too similar to go with this, so I'm going to make this a no. Next is the floral ribbon, and it has a band in the center, meaning this seam would be covered up a lot. I love it. But the floral motif gives it a mood or a feel that may not go with some of my photos, and I don't want to rule anything out. For instance, to me it feels feminine, so maybe I would have more masculine photos, or I may end up putting some beautiful scenery on here that is not spring or summertime feel. So I'm going to say no, sadly. And that leaves one of the workhorses in my border punch collection, the Weaving Waves. It has enough of a line that it is going to cover the bottom of the seam and be beautiful on this generic page. So I am now adding the border strip is our final step. And this is a beautiful base page. This is an example of photos configured the way the project recipe has them. It calls for 5" by 3" photos, and I have 4" by 3" mats down. And then vertically it has 3.5" by 5.5" photos on the left and the right. But there are so many other options. And here's another configuration. Landscape photos, 5.5" by 3.5" on the outsides, and then 4 by 4 square on the inside. And here is another configuration. We have 4 by 6, 4 by 4, and 4 by 3. This is the final layout, and I was so happy to get photos onto these pages. Now before the close-ups, I hope that you will like this video, subscribe to the channel, and here's a video YouTube says you may like, so I hope you'll watch it.